Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in China. I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and possibly, just possibly, we may have Kai Bacchini joining us very shortly. He's having a bit of issues with his connection, with his laptop, sorry, but he will be here very soon. As you can see there is the top runners. Reina is definitely leading the pack, and the best of the rest is Yoltek there in the Toro Rosso. So it's already starting to shape up quite nicely, with Haas leading the Constructors' Championship as well. It's looking pretty good for them too. If you've got your money bets on the Haas drivers, then you're looking pretty safe and secure right now. That is the layout of the track. We have the 16 turns there, 3.387 mile long is this track. It's got the two DRS zones, a really difficult turn one that a lot of drivers will tend to be caught out, especially if we get any sort of wet weather here. And as you can see on screen there, when completed in 2004, the Shanghai International Circuit was the most expensive Formula 1 track at all. Hamilton has won here 5 times, Vettel's only won once, and but he does hold the lap record. This used to have the longest straight on their calendar, and then Baku came along. I am tonight commentating on my own. Kai will hopefully be joining us shortly, and we are going to get underway with the qualifying of the Rwagnation Online Championship Season 2. Again, Reina up there at the top in first place. He is driving like an absolute machine right now. And obviously with having Ed Nickturn back again, we've got the McLaren drivers in here. McLaren, as you may have just seen today in the qualifying, they've got some really good solid pace. And today, Fossetti is not driving. You may see that. It's actually Zerd who's driving today alongside Mizzo. So we may see something very extraordinary coming out of the McLaren team. Not necessarily saying that Fossetti isn't quick, just that it's a whole different type of strategy. It's all different kind of mentality, and sometimes drivers can get caught out by just having that one driver being a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little bit more, full on. But here we go. Once this has got out of the way, we will be straight into it. Right, okay. Now, I'm going to go straight into my top 3 prediction. Who do I go for? P1. There's just so much good competition here. Meister is a very quick driver. Reina also very quick. They're about on par, I'd say. At Nickturn as well. Meister and at Nickturn have traditionally been battling with each other in every single race I've ever seen them in terms of their performance. Hazard has found some sort of new level. We have. 1 second. You may have to just bear with me, as I have a friend who is going to be joining us any second now. I believe he's here. Kai Bacchini.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, my parents on here, but I've got my friend in the background because he's in my van with me. So that's okay. You'll try and make as little noise as possible.
That's absolutely fine, but welcome to the stream. We are live already inside the Chinese Grand Prix. Just going through my prediction. You should be able to see my screen. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay, so you just missed an absolute corker of a highlight video. It was the best highlight video that I've ever seen in my life, ever, and I may be biased, but at least it's my own words. I'm just trying to go through my top 3 predictions, but there's so many quick drivers, like you saw when we were out in Bahrain last week out. Yeah. There were just so many quick ones. What's your top 3?
I'd probably say right now it's got to be Beaker, Necton, and Hazard's got to be watched out for, but Reina definitely. He's shown a lot of pace.
So if you used to put them in 1, 2, and 3, are you going to go in the same order as what you just said?
I'm going to put Nickturn in the front right now.
Yeah.
And then go Reina, and then
Beaker. Okay, interesting. For me, I'm not gonna. As much as I love Beaker, and as much as I think he's a great driver, I just don't think he's got the pace here in China to be able to get himself into the top 3, especially not in qualifying anyway. So, we've already had our first little off there. Rexon living the grass a little bit too much. We have got Meister and Yoltek out in a minute in the front runners. Yoltek is someone who hasn't had a really great start to this season, I'm going to be truthfully honest, but he seems to really thrive in the second half. That's where he absolutely just killed it, did a phenomenal job. So I'm not going to put him in my top 3 today. I am, however, going to put Nickturn up there as my #1 driver. He has shown, he actually, believe it or not, as of about 45 minutes ago, Nickturn holds the fastest lap around China in the wet out of anyone else in the world. So that is a huge stat to shout about, and I think that's a very fair reason. Yotek getting on the grass, kept it together. But yeah, Ed Nickturn for me, P1. P2's got to go to Meister or Rayner. Which one is it? That's the bit I don't know. I'm going to go Meister P2, Rayner P3.
Yeah, don't count out Meister. Meister's been driving very well and being really aggressive, attacking on those corners, making really good overtakes in the past season and the Bahrain Grand Prix. He's been really fast, and also Australia. Yeah,
and the other thing we got to take note of is we can't turn away how quick Just Chillin' is. He is insanely fast. It's awesome to see. Hopefully he'll be able to pull off something when it comes to the actual race. Whether or not he's going to be quick enough in the qualifying, that's kind of not Just Chillin's bag, as Meister has crossed the line first. He's done a 1:31.817, so a great start. He's on the mediums though, bear that in mind, so it's not going to be the quickest lap time, but again, we have all 20 drivers here, and that is phenomenal. We don't see this very often in other racing leagues, but this one is working like a treat.
Yeah, I think it's a really competitive league that you've put together, and it's really well run, and it's got a lot of competitive drivers in it.
I appreciate that, thank you. There is a mention of this guy right here, Zerd. He's just done a quick lap time. He's done a 1:32.326 in the medium compound as well. He's still slower than Meister, but obviously with 13.5 minutes left of this session, there's still plenty of opportunities for him to improve and plenty of chances for him to potentially get himself higher up the field. I mean, there's only one more spot after him. Let's also take a look at Hazard. He's currently out on the softs. He's giving it the full beans down onto the home straight. Is he going to be able to take P1 away from Meister this early on?
I don't know if he'll be able to, but Hazard's definitely a driver to watch out for. Meister's done a very quick lap for right now in this quali session, but Hazard definitely has it in him, but will he be able to pull it off?
Well, we're about to find out. Here he comes, wing open, coming across the line. He does a 1:32.671. And interestingly, the other McLaren did an ultra soft lap time of a 1:32.351. So it's either Meister is phenomenally quick, or he has just, the other two drivers are just not quite giving it the full beans yet. Again, still early doors, still got plenty of time to go, and it's not really going to be a problem if we see any of these drivers not quite doing what they should be doing this early on. Beaker is someone, again, need to keep an eye on. Not necessarily in the top 3 sort of area, but definitely capable of a top 5, top 4 sort of finish.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of power in Beaker. Just not too aggressive into the corners, but sometimes not aggressive enough, if I may say myself. He is a very consistent driver. He's got a lot of pace in him, but will he be able to pull it off, though? I don't know if he believes in himself enough to pull it off, but let's see what he can do.
Yep, absolutely. Good shot there. Well, he comes across the line, does a 1:33.929, so definitely way off the pace there. Not all happy days for him. Further upfield, Rayner's gone into P2. I'm just going to give you a little overview for anybody who's new to the Rwagnation Online League. We're going to just talk about the sort of settings and structure of how this works. So, it is it was a 21 race league. We have had to make some cuts. There's been a lot of talk. As you may know, F1 2019 got announced a few days ago, and it looks absolutely astounding. So we're very excited for it. And in order to make sure that we are able to make season 3 start when we want it to, we have decided to cut the league down. The drivers also agreed with it. We're going to cut the league down by 7 races. So we're actually going to bring it from 21 races right the way back to just the 14. There are a fair few tracks that have been taken out, such as, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but Baku, Monaco. So some of the greats are in there, but some of the we've still got plenty of good tracks left in for them to still go on. So it's a 50% race with a short qualifying, which is what we're in currently. Damage is on full. The corner cutting is absolutely on strict. The only assists that are allowed are gearbox on automatic for the pad users if they wanted to continue racing with a pad, and the corners only racing line. That is the only assists that are available. Pit assists are all turned off, so you may see some speeding in the pit lanes, and also the braking assist is obviously definitely off. You definitely don't want that on. More importantly, though, ABS and traction control are completely off, and that's the main ones that drivers tend to struggle with the most.
Yeah, I think it will definitely be a challenge that will bring out the best in the drivers. Not having many assists on the cars, which will show who's the best and who's the not. It will also bring out who's stronger around the corners, who's better technically within the cars, and who's better overall.
Yep, indeed. Okay, so let's go have a look around the field. You've got Copy and at Nick Turn about to start a hot lap. I actually want to stay on board with at Nick Turn as we go through a hot lap on this track. Okay, coming up into turn 1 here. It's a long right-hander. A lot of drivers can easily make a mistake. You need to make sure that you get close to the inside. And there you go, he's done that perfectly. Get on to turn 2. Use the apexes quite nicely. Run off pretty hard. Ooh, lost the back end just a touch, but keeps it going pretty solid. To turn 3. And now moving into turn 4, into this very quick sort of hairpin. It's quite sharp. Moving nicely around it. Not too many issues there. Moving into turn 5 here. Long left-hander. Needs to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake. Turn 6. Again, another right. It's a very quick braking zone into a turn 7 left-hander, and then another left-hander here, turn 8. Run off pretty hard. Make sure you get to the end of this little straight. No DRS here. Get onto that there now. Get the exit perfect here for this long right-hander. Coming onto the longest straight in the calendar, other than Baku, as we discussed earlier. Hey, look at that now. Mode 4 on the ERS. That's something to pay attention to, because that is the quickest output of your ERS. As you can see, the ERS counter there just ticking away nicely. With the wing wide open, the weather's just taken a shift. I think we may see some... Oh, huge lock up there from it, Nick Turn. Coming to the hairpin now, into the second to last corner. Little nudge, and now he's good for the final corner. And as he clips there nicely, gets a nice good run off, get the wing wide open, and comes across the line, and he takes P1 with a 1:31.526. Again on the medium compound.
Yeah, that was a very good lap by Necton, but there's definitely room for improvement, as we saw a couple of mistakes being made as we're on board with Hazard on a lap by him. Is it a hot lap? Yes, it looks like it might be. But back onto Necton, there was a couple of mistakes, and he's definitely got room for improvement, and we will see a faster lap time from him.
So, something to mention is one of the Ferrari drivers. So Brownie was here last week out in Bahrain, but he has had an issue with his racing wheel, which has caused him to need to bring in the reserve driver, which is Jorn. Now, for anybody who remembers Season 1, Jorn was in Ferrari as a main driver, but due to schooling issues and making sure he needs to focus on his education, he has had to step out of the full-time seat and hand it over to Brownie. It's working quite nicely for them in the most part, except now that Jorn's back in again, he's not really had time to practice. It was literally within the last hour or two that he was said, oh, you may actually have to race tonight. So he's throwing himself together. He's not yet put a lap time in, but looking at the paces of some of the drivers, he might actually be able to contest. I've seen him perform really well here. It's all down to him and his abilities.
Yeah, he has a lot of ability, as you saw in Season 1. Unfortunately, he had to step down as a reserve driver. Definitely had the pace and knowledge to be a main driver, though. It was very quick when he was with Ferrari. But it's unfortunate that he had to step down as a reserve driver.
Yep, and you just saw Nick Turn go again, do a 1:31.271, so he's increasing that gap even more so. 4/10 separates him and his teammate Copy in P2. So good work by them two. Just under 6 minutes left of the session. Still plenty of time for them to go and get some fresh boots on. Are we going to see anyone go onto the ultra soft or the soft compound and be within the top 10? Hazard is currently that person at the minute who has done a lap time on the ultra soft compound, but it's only just top 10. It's not quite enough for him to be able to really shout home about it and say, look mum, look what I did. We'll have to keep an eye on that as he goes through the actual session. Beaker in a minute on a cool down lap. He's done 2 laps on the mediums. Not quite how you want to end your qualifying session.
Yeah, if we look out for Just Chillin', he's quite far down, but we'll definitely not be seeing him stay there. Let's see if he can make his way through, as we see that is one of the McLarens. Who is... What, sorry?
Mizzo.
Yeah, he is on a hot lap. We'll see what he can do. See if he makes any mistakes, see where he can place the car.
Yeah, he's a very quick driver, actually. He's someone who can battle quite harsh, and really, I mean, he got quite a rough penalty going into Bahrain. He actually got qualifying banned, so his race was very hindered by that. You know, it wasn't like one major incident that caused it. It was just a couple of small ones that generated enough penalty points for him to get that qualifying ban. And it actually has become quite a meme within the Rwagnation League community, where if any McLarens get a penalty, they jokingly say, oh, it's going to be a qualifying ban straight off the bat. But there was a little bit of a discussion on that, you see, and that's where that came about. But Mizzo is looking to get rid of that image and trying to generate, you know, a really good one and show what McLaren can actually do in this championship. And looking at it right now, Zed's in P4. It's already looking pretty solid for him. He's on an out lap right now, and Mizzo is about to start his hot lap.
Yeah, Mizzo, a very quick driver. We got to watch out for him. Don't underestimate him. He's got a lot of pace, he's got a lot of racecraft, and he's definitely going to be contending for that podium.
Yeah, here he is going into turn 1. Can he do what everyone else seems to be struggling to do? He actually made that look pretty good, pretty tidy. It could have been tidier, there's no doubt about it. A lot of people here really screw up the exit, but he got that nailed. That is a really solid exit there. That's going to generate him a lot of time. I think he now will be the fastest in Sector 1. I think that will be a purple. Inaudible Gamer getting very swiftly out of the way. No issues there. Good guy, Inaudible Gamer. And obviously, F1 in particular does have some of the harshest blue flag rules out of any racing sport that exists. If you in the official F1, if you go more than 3 flags, 3 blue flags before getting out of the way, you are looking at getting a penalty. Here we go.
Yeah,
now.
Very harsh on the blue flag. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine, Karen.
Very harsh on the blue flags in the F1 community. There is a very vague idea of what they're going to be doing this season, if they're going to be changing that. But in other types of motorsport, it is different rules on the blue flags, but F1 being one of the harshest on it.
Yeah, here we go. So, Mizzo coming up to the final corner now. He's done a pretty solid lap so far, not really doing any sort of major mistakes of any kind. Is it quick enough to take P1? It is 1:31.189. So, a quick lap time, but can it be beaten? It's still going strong for the other McLaren, who's about to enter into the hairpin. A little bit of a lock-up there. Not quite how he wanted that to be finishing, but here he is coming up into the final corner. The sun is shining, so the track will be lovely and warm, and it's all down now. Lazzaro goes faster. New bar has been raised. Zerd increases it even further by just 100th of a second. So close between the two. And they are both part of the FAP, or FAP as they like to call it, racing team. There's Lazzaro getting a little bit on the outside. And Nick Turn about to start again. He's the man who may break the Trek record here.
Yeah, very quick, as we saw him do very well in the wet in China. We saw him do a very good performance, a very dominant performance at Bahrain. You'll definitely be hoping to do that again in China, but will he be able to? He's under a lot of pressure.
He really is, and there's no doubt about that. Just chilling as well. He's the sort of driver who handles the pressure quite well. He's currently on a hot lap at the minute. I kind of want to stay on board with him because he did have a pretty rough race out in Bahrain. Actually, look at this. The two Sauber drivers really giving each other such a tactful little toe here. This could really... Yeah, look at that. Meister finished the toe on Just Chilling. Slingshots Just Chilling into the hairpin. And this could be huge for the Sauber team. Meister warming himself up, ready to return the favour.
Yeah, the Sauber team are very good with their drivers, they have very strong drivers in their lineup and definitely going to be a contender in the constructors title, with a lot of points coming in from both drivers.
Well, and it seems like it's a technique that's actually traveling across to the other drivers too. Here we are on board with Haas, who are doing exactly the same thing again. Reina giving the toe to Yonti. Yonti, we know he is fast. If he doesn't lock up here, he may actually be... Yeah, he's done a good job, but is that an invalidation? That was very close to being a validation. We have ended the session. Lazzaro is in P3, and Nickturn did smash the lap time by quite a huge margin. There's Yonti up into P9, and Reina's actually finished across the line as well. He's gone P7. He's pretty happy with that, it seems. So, where is Meister? He is the man that is surprisingly low down right now. And I'm pretty sure that's his teammate just up ahead. It is indeed. So now it's the return of the favour for Just Chilling. Giving it back to Meister. Here's the slingshot, sir. Use it to its fullest. We want to see you up there in the top 3. What can he do though? Hairpin here. No lockup needs to be required. Yes, very good. Oh, again. Clipped that corner quite considerably. Didn't cut it as much as I thought. I think he got away with it because it's actually technically slower. Here he comes now. 130. Oh, it's a 131. He's only improved to P8. He did improve by 0.2, but this track does not seem like it's his baby. Where is Copy? He's off track. Where's it a Nick turn? Here he is, the man of the hour. He's currently provisional pole. Is he going to be able to keep hold of that even more so? Might even extend it. He's actually the only person who can break his own lap time. Copy has gone off the track and is not going to be able to improve. So now this is just for bragging rights. And Nick Turn is going to go in better. He is. Who is this man and how is he this quick? Alright, okay. Let's look around the field just a touch. So Nick turns P1, Mizzo P2, Zerd P3. So both McLarens, as we mentioned, actually in the podium spot. Looking really good. Lazzaro P4, Copy P5, Just Chillin P6, Reina P7, Meister P8. Quite concerned at that, to be honest. Doesn't seem like it's a track that's really working for him. And that is really how we're going to sum up the qualifying of China.
Yeah, sorry, I disconnected for a minute. But, I didn't see the end of qualifying, but wouldn't be surprised if the positions moved around a little bit.
Yeah, don't worry. So basically what happened was Nickton flexed his muscles just a little bit harder and improved his already quick lap time and went to an even quicker 1:30.479, as you can see on screen there. So just a quick little top 10 rundown. Nickton P1, Mizzo finishes off the front row of the grid. McLaren taking the 2-3, so Zerd P3, Lazzaro P4, P5 is Copy, P6 is Just Chillin', Reina in 7th, Meister in 8th, Buemels and Yonti close out the final of the top 10, and then the best of the rest is Clowie, and only just ahead of Beaker. So looking set for an absolutely incredible Grand Prix race. Now, here's the real question for you. You answered the predictions for qualifying. Have you changed those predictions for the race?
Probably not. I think Beaker has amazing race pace, and I think all the drivers that I said for the top 3 have amazing race pace, amazing racecraft, and definitely have the capability of getting top 3.
Yeah, absolutely on board with that. And I think, to be honest, even though I've seen how dominant Nickton is, I did say he was going to be P1 for me, and I got that bang on the nose. I didn't see that both of the McLaren drivers would be in the top 3 as well. So that kind of surprised me a little bit. It doesn't make me want to change my prediction necessarily. I think the only thing I would do is take Meister out of there, just purely because of how much he looks like he's struggling. It's not quite the sort of start to the actual qualifying as I would have expected. To be honest, I'm expecting him to be right up there fighting with the big boys, but it's just not working out. Just Chilling, his teammate who struggled out in Bahrain, is really reaping it in today. P6, especially with that slingshot that we saw earlier. Is Lazzaro going to be able to contest the top 3? That's the question I want to hear.
I think he definitely will be able to. He done a very, very good performance in Bahrain, and I definitely think he will be able to get top 3 in China.
I think we may be in for a bit of a treat today. The track is pretty dry. It does look like it's going to be staying like that for a while. I have been informed that Gooby has desync again. He does actually have this quite frequently, actually. So this may cause issues for the other drivers on track, but don't worry. We have got live stewarding in place. So what that means is that through... actually, hold on. I have been informed we are going to re-host the lobby. So the good news is that as we've set this up as an online league championship, it's actually very easy and very quick to get everybody back in. All of the settings are saved, so we don't have to faff around getting that all sorted. All we need to do is invite the man himself, Beaker. As soon as he has done the needful and invited everyone in, we can get straight on into it. A couple of things I want to talk about with the Chinese Grand Prix is just how fluctuant the actual weather can be. The weather can be pretty bad just at the drop of a hat. China has got some of the strongest rain sessions we've seen in any of the races in the calendar. Obviously Brazil as well. Brazil's actually one that seems to rain every time I commentate. I don't know if I've just got a commentator's curse or something. But there's actually one of my... I love watching China, the Grand Prix. I hate driving on it. I'm going to be truthful. I just cannot do it. And it's only because I'm bad at it. Have you had many sessions here at China?
I've had a couple, and I have to admit I'm absolutely horrendous around China. I hate the long right-hander because I like getting through my gears quickly and not going through them slowly. Yeah,
I think that's the main thing for me too, is turn one just mentally destroys me. And I can't seem to... So the main way to do it is you turn the ballast up higher and make it, get around the corner a bit better. But then when it comes to the S's, sort of in Sector 2... having a high ballast kills you, literally. You take the left-hander, if you just turn just a touch too much, your back end comes out, your car then buries it in the sand or in the gravel even, or worst case, you end up in a wall. It is just an absolute nightmare to be in that sort of situation. It's not where we want to be, and I've got to give massive credit to all of these drivers for being able to do such quick lap times on a circuit as difficult as this.
Yeah, very good quality of drivers, as I was saying. And definitely don't miscount any of these drivers, because little do we know, anyone could just be racing through the pack, have a really good race, and someone could come from the back and come up to the front.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, obviously, when it comes to these sorts of difficult corners, some drivers like to take risks. Obviously, this is a game that's all about risks. If you risk... sometimes you get the reward, sometimes you get the penalty, shall we say. When you get the penalty, that's obviously can make a huge difference in the actual standings, not just in the drivers, but also in the constructors. And again, the live stewarding that we were talking about earlier. So we will be hearing from the stewards for any incidents that occur on the track. We'll be hearing from the stewards mid-race, so we'll be able to get a live update for you and how that's going to pan out, whether it's going to be a drive-through penalty or whichever, we shall see. But it's the first time that we've been able to any league has been able to try and implement this. And so far, it's worked really effectively. The stewards are very reactive. The Jeffs are all in continuous communication with the stewards. With the stewards, sorry. And it's just working absolutely beautifully.
Yeah, a very good league, I said, as you were running. Very smooth running, and all the drivers got to play a role in this because they do a very good job at what they're doing. And yeah, as you say, the stewards are doing an absolutely amazing job at keeping a live feed and serving out the penalties if needed.
Yeah, and the thing is that they're not doing it like extra harsh sort of penalties. They've got they are discussing it fairly and really sort of taking the rule book into account, and also whether or not it was a fair penalty or not. But so far, everything's been pretty good and consistent. And we have got all the drivers back in again. Everything is set and ready to go. All of the guys will have the same tyres that they started on. They'll also have the same wear on those tyres, so nobody's getting any sort of free rein here. They all have the exact same setup, so nothing has changed. And they're all as locked in as has always been the case. So now we're waiting for the drivers to ready up to say that we can get cracking with the Chinese Grand Prix, and we will be having a good old time. We're just having a moment. Bear with us just 2 seconds. Alright, here we go. We have got all the drivers ready and they're just sorting out their race strategies and how they're going to be playing it out. So, let's talk about the race strategies just a second as the drivers are sorting them out. Would you say a one-stop is sort of the best situation here?
I think on most tracks, a one-stop is definitely what you're going to be aiming for, because it will gain you the most time on the other drivers that are doing the other stops. Like 2 or 3 stops, and I think it's just more efficient than doing 2 or 3 stops.
Yeah, I mean, 3 stops, obviously, you must have had some sort of collision on track for you to even get into that situation in the first place. So it's really good to see that, you know, we have got the pace to be able to do the one stops, but also the tyre management skills. Again, it does come down to that also, who's done the research on their car setups. If their car setup doesn't play to the favours of tyre management, you may see 1 or 2 drivers actually have to do the 2-stop just purely because they've just pushed the tyres so far and not quite been able to capitalise on that one-stop strategy. And then if they haven't thought about it, then they will actually be losing out more than you would think. Don't worry about the 2 disqualifications. They will be waiting on the home start, but their tyres will be cooling down very quickly.
Yeah, I think a 2-stop can be useful because you can push the tyres more than you do in a 1-stop, and it does give you a little bit more time, less time, sorry, on the tyres, so you can use more wear out of the tyres in those first few laps.
Yeah, it does mean you got to go all out for the majority of the situation, and you got to be really mindful of your fuel in that situation because you don't want to be going in rich all the time. You'll burn it out pretty quickly. You also don't want to overload the car with fuel because if you do, you're going to be burning your tyres even quicker, you know, especially when you come into the hard braking zone at the end of this straight. And I think that's ultimately where the drivers who've got the most skill will find the best way to manage the tyres as they come out of this hairpin. It's whether or not the tyres degrade fast enough to really be a problem, as Nickton actually warms his tyres up using a pretty hard lockup there. Coming into the final corner. He does this every race I see him in. He goes around the track so quickly, and he's actually waiting on the grid for a little bit of time. And every time I see him do it, he tends to lose a position in the first lap. I don't know if he has got something up his sleeve that we don't know about, but here he is now, coming in. And I'm very excited to get underway with this Chinese Grand Prix. Alright, all drivers getting into their grid positions. The last of those is Rexon in the medium compounds. Most of the drivers have actually gone for the softs. Even some of the outside of the top 10, they've all gone for the softs and mediums. Here we go. We are getting underway with the Chinese Grand Prix. When the lights go out, it's going to be who has the biggest minerals when the foot gets planted into the gas. The light has gone out. There we go. We are underway. Look at the cloud of smoke kick up there. Lots of wheel spin from majority of the drivers. Look at the Red Bull there coming in from Lazaro. He's looking for some moves going into the inside. The 2 McLarens come together, but they don't actually lose any wing. Who's that ran wide? That is that Mercedes? Oh, major contact there. Someone's gone flying off the side of the track. Kept it together just about. Toto lost out massively throughout that. Where has Zerd gone? He's fallen all the way down to P6. Meister had an absolutely amazing start. He started so far down, and he's right the way up there in P3. Look at the dive from Yonte up into P6 now. That was a beautiful move. Zerd is all out of shape going into the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, all kicking off on the first lap. A little bit of contact, so stewards are going to have to deal with that in their own time. But a very good start from Mizzo and Meister to make their way up the grid.
Yeah, Rexon getting a little bit close with another car there. There's Force India that's run wide a little bit. Yon actually battling with him. Yon's got a move. He's going to be on the outside, and he's actually ahead of him. There's a little bit of a dive. There's contact. Yon and Copy came together. Copy had a bit of a major start, which literally just threw him about a bit too much, and now he's all the way down in P16. And speaking of movement, Chloe, oh, look at that. What a massive move there. I think that was TNMO. Actually just went so wide. That almost became a big problem for him. Let's go on board with Rexon as everybody's just jiffling around. Rexon does a little bit of a switcheroo, flying in between the two. Toto is right back there now. Massive lockup. Is Copy going to go for a move down the inside of TNMO? I think he is. He's definitely trying it. Whether or not he's going to be able to pull it off or not, I don't think he is, as TNMO is ahead now. And back up into P16 he goes. Bit slow going through that final corner. I don't know if he's got wing damage or not. We'll have to take a little look-see at that car. I'm just trying to focus on it, see if I can see anything. I see some elements missing on the right side, yeah. I think he's actually got an element missing on the left side as well. So that wing is going to be a disaster going into turn 1. Yon going around the outside of him. There we go. Gooby up in a P13. I say up, he's just lost a place. But Yonti and Zed. Zed's now starting his claw back through the grid. Up in a P6 from his worst position so far of P7. But Meister, I have absolutely no idea where Meister got that pace from. In the first few corners, he jumped up so quickly into P3, and now we're starting to see him in the place we normally expect him to be. Sort of P3 area, maybe even a P2 if he's feeling properly good. Yonti and Zerd are having a little bit of a scrap. Zerd's trying to slipstream out of Reyna. Is he going to be able to make the pass happen going into the hairpin? Oh, here he is, going for that move on the inside line. It's going to be a difficult one. Is he going to be able to cut it beautifully? Cuts the corner a fair amount. He is ahead. That was a definite move there. I don't know whether or not he cut it a bit too much or not, but no warning I can see. No penalties being given. And he is ahead of Reyna, so P5. Zerd's climb is going to be a tough one, but it is when he could do. Look at the Toro Rosses in the background. That was Gooby. He ran really wide there. Did not want to have that much of a runoff. If you keep doing that, you'll end up with yourself in a fair bit of penalties. Yon, though, to say he hasn't raced in quite a while, and he's had zero practice here in China, he's doing a really solid job of making his way up. And so has Beaker. Beaker's in a P9. On the back of Just Chilling. Had to... Ooh, bit of a lock up there from both drivers, but Beaker had it more so. Those tyres are starting to warm up, so he should be able to benefit from it. And when we get to that back straight, we will have DRS now as we are on lap 3, and I'm expecting to see some pretty solid overtakes going into that session. Okay, let's look at the front runners. Meister on the back of Mizzo. Mizzo trying to catch up to Ed Nickturn, but Ed Nickturn has done a very good job of breaking that DRS gap. Meister locks up pretty severely, and that's actually bringing Lazaro into the mix now. Lazaro will have the DRS on Meister. He needs to be careful that he doesn't drive too much slower. I think he might be a bit too far back for the move on Mizzo, though. Yeah, just a touch. He's going to have to just take it easy, reset himself, get himself prepped for the next time he comes to that position on the track. And on the next lap, Beaker battling with Clowie. Look, here he comes in at the hairpin. What a move there by Beaker, but he didn't get it completed, and Beaker has still gone back to P10 and holds on tight. Softs and mediums seems to be the strategy here. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Let's take a look. What could that be? Hazard. He's right the way down there in P19, along with Copy. Copy has just had a nightmare of a race. I don't know if he's just got connection issues, which is causing him to lag backwards or what, but he is having a rough time, and he's actually been in the pits already as well, I think. No, he hasn't. Ah, there we go. He's just done lap 3. And Gooby is the first to get penalties. And again, looking at the front runners too, Mizzo's actually falling further and further behind from Nickturn. I think he's actually starting to hold these guys together a bit too, and that's actually where he might be a major problem. Did Mizzo choose a time trial setup? If he did, that would explain why he's struggling with this amount of weight on the car. And I expect Mizzo, if I'm right, I think he'll be falling out of the podium spot by the end of this race. Someone who might not be, though, is Zerd. He's there in P5 at the minute. He's trying to catch up to the back of Lazaro so he can capitalize on the slipstream and the DRS. Well, here is Mizzo under threat. Lazaro also trying to make use of it. I say under threat. It's going to be a dive. Here he is. Meister, look at the pace he's carrying into the hairpin. He's going to have to really make it a short one if he wants to pull it off, and he's done it. Meister with a beautiful move on Mizzo into the hairpin, and up in a P2 he goes. Okay, Meister and Mizzo again having to battle it back. Mizzo does have DRS on Meister this time round. Going into turn 1, this is a very difficult place to make an overtake happen because you're both so much just on the load of the tyre. If that tyre just gets pushed a bit too hard, you will lose so much time. But no, Meister's done a very good job of cementing that position. What an absolute beastly move there. Beaker and Buemels now. Beaker's actually looks like he's been having problems. His back end is very unstable. Coming out of that corner there. He went from being on the attack of Chloe to now being on the defense against Buemels. And whilst he was battling with Just Chillin earlier, I was expecting Just Chillin to be able to actually pull away very quickly, and Beaker to be able to make an overtake on that using the DRS. But I don't know if Beaker just made too many mistakes and that's cost him, or what's happened. But we will keep an eye on that as the two Haas drivers down there in P6 and P7. Pretty comfortable for them at the minute. We'll have to see when we come to the DRS straight, as we are about to, with Lazaro on Mizzo. We saw Mizzo get overtaken last lap out by Meister. Is it going to happen again? Mizzo actually has DRS and the slipstream again. Meister really holding back Mizzo. Lazaro said, oh, major issues. There's going to be contact between the two of them. He does just barge his way through. Surely he has to give that position back, because that was very aggressive by Lazaro. That could have been seriously dangerous, and surely he's going to hand that back to him. He's not. What is happening here? Lazaro goes defensive. Mizzo now having to go down. He's got, that's beautiful. Mizzo faked out as if he was going to try and take the inside line. Lazaro then went defensive. Then he fakes back over to the outside, and then Lazaro moves over, but that ruined his line because he did it so late on. And Mizzo with a godly re-overtake on Lazaro. That is an absolutely monstrous move. Now Lazaro is going to try and do the same thing again. It's going to be, he's just so aggressive going into these corners. If he's not careful, he's going to end up finding himself in the steward's office with a lot of problems. Keeping an eye on this as Zerd now getting into this mix. Lazaro's in a McLaren sandwich, and if he makes one wrong move, I think the boys are going to be back in town. They're going to put him into the dirt. Keep an eye out and see how he does. But if Mizzo makes Lazaro's ankle snap like that again, I think we may see Lazaro end up in the dirt himself on his own. Very aggressive, very interesting move there from Lazaro, but a very solid overtake there from Mizzo to outsmart Lazaro and just mentally destroy him. Now you're going to see Lazaro try and be as extensive as he can, and I'm just looking further down the field. There are other battles going on. This is the one to watch at the minute though, as Lazaro and Mizzo are going to go again. Lazaro's got the outside. He is further ahead. He's going to try and turn into this corner. There's contact between the two. Lazaro gets a taste of his own medicine this time. Mizzo gives his back end a little bit of a touch, and Lazaro managed to catch it, but Mizzo holds on to P3 yet again. So now, again, can we see another McLaren ankle snap on Lazaro? He's faked over to the outside again. Now Lazaro's got the outside. Ew, it was almost the same situation, except Zed. Oh, it might work. Here we go. Zed and Mizzo. Lazaro's lost to that McLaren move. We're going to call that the McLaren snap. That's what we're going to call that from here on out. It's the McLaren snap. Whenever you see them fake out as if they're going on the inside and flick over to the outside, we're going to call it the McLaren snap. Regardless of what constructor does that. As these two both donned that, and what a nice move by these two guys. Okay, so let's have a look further down as Chloe's right there on the back of Just Chillin'. Not sure who is going to benefit the most from this. We'll have to see. Okay, here we go into the left-hander, prepping themselves again for another DRS move. Let's see how the boys up ahead are doing. Lazaro much further back than he has been in previous laps. If the two McLaren guys can work together, which they will, then Zerd should be able to defend this quite comfortably. In fact, there might actually be a move between the two McLaren drivers. There is indeed. Is it going to be a lot cleaner than we've seen for the last two? There is Mizzo and Zerd swapping places. And now Lazaro, I don't know if you saw that in the background there, but Lazaro locked up hard and overshot that corner. And a little bit of a swapperoo there from the McLaren drivers. Having a look further back. Chloe has made a move on Just Chillin' and Rayner, but Rayner's in the pits. Lazaro's in the pits, and Just Chillin' needs to keep himself together now that he's had that pass happen on him. Can't back out just yet. But it is very interesting to see that both Lazaro and Rayner have pitted already. 7 laps in on those soft compound tyres. I have been informed that Lazaro does have front wing damage. He has a very injured right hand side. Not sure what that is as a result of. More likely a move that he performed earlier, possibly. Or maybe a little bit of karma, but who knows, we will see. Someone who is really surprising me is Yawn. He is doing such a good job given the fact of his little practice. Yes, he's battling with other drivers on the mediums. Here he goes for a move down the inside on Inaudible Gamer. It is a very clean move. I mean, came out of nowhere. He licked that stamp, slapped it on the envelope and sent it. And now he's trying to make an outside move on Inaudible Gamer. Look at that. What a move. Yawn. How is he able to do this after such little amount of time on the game? Absolutely monstrous dive. That's an overtake of the week for me. I think we may be seeing that later on. Good job there by Yawn. Okay, Hazard. He's starting to recover himself as well. He's on the back end of Tortor. Not sure if they're going to be able to hold it together. Oh, it was close. There's a little bit of a wobble there from Tortor. Now, look how close Hazard is to the back of this runner. The slipstream will be so strong here. We may see a front wing just fly past him. Oh, I thought we was going to see the front wing fly past him before we even got to the dearest son. And actually, Gooby, he's coming out of nowhere too. Toto is trying to hold the inside line. Massive lockup between the two. And because of that meant that Toto actually went into Hazard's line, shut that door on him, and Gooby takes the 2 drivers into the hairpin as a result of that one mistake. Hazard does finally get past Toto, but that was very good moving by Gooby. He read that like a book. And off he goes into P14. Still out of the points at the minute, but with race strategies to play, this could massively play out into their hands. The 2 McLaren drivers still up at the front, P3 and 4. At Nickturn, by the way, up there in P1, very comfortably ahead. 3.4 seconds separates him from Meister, who we saw do an absolutely monstrous start to the race. Away he goes in P2. And then followed by Zerd, 2.8 seconds behind. He is filling in for Force today as the reserve driver. And he's doing a really good job of it. McLaren may have to have some in-team discussions as to who needs to be the main driver if we see that happen again. Mizzo on the back. But yeah, too far back. He's actually just using DRS to try and close himself up and keep him up there in the running for the 1, 2, 3. Beaker and Buemels. A little bit of a switcheroo down there. Didn't expect that to be happening anytime soon. Beaker is ahead. He does sort of move the line to show Buemels where he needs to stay. And P9 is where that is indeed. Beaker doing a very good job up in a P8. And Buemels goes off into pits. So medium compound tyre is likely to be put onto Buemels' car unless he chooses to go for a 2-stop strategy. We talked about this in the formation lap. It's not the best strategy to go on. It is actually a lot slower, but it does give you the opportunity to give it the full beans. Yep, he is going for the medium, so this is it for the end of for the rest of the race. 18 laps, in fact, and Rayner getting a 3-second time penalty. Just on the topic of penalties, we actually haven't seen that many penalties as of yet. I know that there has been contact, and I fully expect to be hearing from the stewards very soon once the decision has been made on how severe that contact was. But taking him out on the back of Rexon. This is a battle for a point, remember. They're both on the same compound tyre, and they both have been driving on it for the same length of time. It's just who has the better driving style. Is Rexon better at defending? And Tinamo better at attacking, or is it the other way around? We'll find out. I think when the DRS zone becomes alive, I think that's where we're going to really understand how good a defender Rexon is. The Red Bulls themselves are not having a particularly great session so far. Latsro was up there battling for P4 and P5. Let's see. Rexon just on limit, runs a bit wide there. That's a bit of grass, loses the back end of it, and that's left him a sitting duck for TNMO. Look at the pace, he's reeling him in. And there he goes, TNMO open at P10. Yonti comes into the pits, Mizzo comes into the pits. I think Mizzo had to. He was struggling for pace. Those tyres were leaving him. He was not in a very comfortable position at all. So Just Chilling comes in as well. And I think we may start to see the front runners do the same thing in the next lap or two. So Meister can't come in yet because Just Chilling's just come in. So he's going to be waiting for that to finish. At Nick Turn is miles ahead of Copy. I've been informed by the stewards that there are currently no investigations taking place. Oh, there's a little battle going on here between Rexon and TNMO again. TNMO will get a little bit out of shape going through turn 1, and Rexon recovered it a little bit to get himself up there, but TNMO came out strong, and P8 is where he'll sit. Inaudible Gamer setting the fastest lap time with a 1:34.481. I do fully expect to be seeing more drivers smashing that lap time to pieces. I'm just looking further back actually, as we've got a bit of a battle going on here. P13 onwards for the next 4 drivers, with Just Chilling holding that pack up a little bit. Lazzaro in P14, Hazard in 15, Rayner who's chasing right now with Buemels in tow. This is going to be an interesting battle when we get to the DRS straight. There's another battle further up ahead actually for P8. P8 is TNMO, followed by Rexon, Yorn and Yonti. And again, Yorn we saw him do that absolutely incredible overtake earlier around the outside. He's done a phenomenal job of it, and now we're going to be seeing whether or not he's going to be able to make an overtake happen on this home straight here. He's already got 1 point. Is he going to be able to capitalise and get another point, double his chances, and maybe even double up again? Okay, no, I thought Rexon was going to go into the back of TNMO then, but nope, kept it together, and the front runners have pit. So it does bring Beaker into your race lead position for the meantime. All of the front runners went onto medium compound. And Nick Turn obviously comes out and is still P1. Very well done by him. And to pit and come out back in P3 just shows how quick he actually is in comparison to some of the other drivers. This is a track that I don't think he realizes just how quick he actually is. Remember, he set the world record on this track for the lap time in the wets, which at the minute is not going to be playing any sort of positive for him. Although it looks like it's not going to make a difference. He's just dominating so far today. More battles to be had here. Buemels still on the back of Hazard. Hazard made a mistake and actually lost out to lost a lot of time out. He's now 1.6 seconds behind Just Chilling, so no DRS available to him. But with Buemels really close to the back end of him, Hazard's got a lot of defending driving to do. I think he did a pretty good move coming out of that one. I don't think there was any sort of slowness. Oh, massive lock up there. That's going to bring Buemels now looking for an outside move. If he can get the undercut here, this could be crucial. Hazard is in trouble. Look at the pace he's losing out. There's actually, look at this. Rayner's trying to get down the inside too. They are so close. They're side by side. Buemels will have DRS. Hazard will not. He's about to lose 2 places, I fear, if this goes the way he wants it to. He's trying to put Buemels onto the side. They're both going around, coming into the hairpin. It's too wide again, and Buemels is a nose ahead. Hazard trying to get the undercut. He manages to recover 1 place on Rayner, but there goes Buemels up in a P15. Beautiful. Beaker's in the pits. No surprise, but he did go quite a long time on those tyres. Oh, Hazard. That's an interesting little sweet little weave. Oh, I thought he was going to go for a nice dive down the inside. Rayner backed off a little bit too quickly. And Hazard stays in P17. Not where we expected him to be. He is one of the quickest drivers out of this driver lineup, and I was fully expecting him to be having a really solid run. He did a pretty good qualifying, given the fact that he isn't a hot lap person in particular. He's more of a marathon runner, and currently he's right down there in P17. So here's Gooby on the back of Yorn. Gooby actually doing really quite well overall. I'm looking further upfield as well to see Rexon, who's still trying to get a move done on TNMO. TNMO is doing, like I said earlier, who's the better defender, and it looks like TNMO is doing exactly what he needed to. Under the pressure, he's not lost out. Yoltek actually just lost a place to a Nick Turn, and Yoltek hasn't actually yet pitted. but he will have... This is his first stint, so when Yoltek pits, he will go onto the softs, and he's the only driver to actually do that. Oh no, sorry, there's a few others. There's Tinamo, Rixon, and Rio Gubi that have that potential of doing that, but Yoltek's looking the quickest out of a lot of them so far. There is Zerd. I want to go a bit further back and look at the battle. Oh, there goes Jon. I thought he made a mistake, but no, he's just going into the pits. So 12 laps on the softs is where he wanted to be, and off he goes. Okay, front runner still at Nickturn, absolutely dominating right now. If we look at the gaps from the leader, Meister is 4.7 seconds off the leader, Zerd 5.4, Mizzo is Zerd's teammate is 6.3 off that pace. And I think now that will mean that Zerd and Mizzo will be able to give each other a tow, but now Meister is in a world of trouble. He's inside the DRS range of the two McLarens behind, and will Meister become victim to the McLaren snap? We'll have to pay attention to that as we come into the home straight. Remember, that's the place where it happened, but it can happen anywhere. As Meister, here he is, he needs to get a better run out of this corner than the two McLarens. And looking at it, they're definitely going to have DRS. They are a very long way back, so I think Meister is safe. I'm just looking further back actually. Lazzaro's got in between Rixon and Tinamo. I'm pretty sure that was team orders letting him just shoot past. And off he went. Yeah, there's no switches there for the McLarens. Is there going to be a move here from Rixon onto his teammate? He's having a little look-see. If he looks up to... Oh, that was close. He almost went into the back of his teammate. And just chilling. He pounces. Off he goes into P10. That is an amazing one. Rixon, you can't be caught sleeping. If you get caught sleeping, just chilling will just wake up you with a big slap of sand and says, oh, I will be taking P10, thank you. That's 1 point for me and 0 points for you. Off I go into turn 1. What are you going to do to try and defend that? Nothing, because Just Chillin' has a good solid line. Rixon was trying to get down the inside, but he just couldn't do it. And I'm looking further back. Did we see... Oh, this is an off, Gooby. He ran wide going into turn 1. That did not work out well for him. And loses a lot of places as a result. He was looking good to try and do a solid recovery drive, but not enough. Rexon making mistakes as well. Beaker now capitalizing. Rexon gets into the side of Beaker. He needs to be careful. He's pushing him pretty hard. That was almost a major collision between the two of them. Beaker did very good to hold on to it. I'm not sure how Rexon didn't put Beaker into the dirt, but that was a very interesting and questionable move from Rexon to... Yes, he's back up in a P11, but does he deserve it? That's the ultimate question. Rexon makes a mistake. Beaker goes through. Whether or not that was a decision that he wanted to make or not, I'm not sure, but Buemel's now on the inside, and Rexon, I think he tried to give Beaker the position back, and because of doing that, oh, both of them ran wide, and Beaker's got his penalty. That's the first of Beaker, and to make matters worse and put salt in the wound, Buemel's is going to tear on past him. There's a little battle going on up ahead for P9 as well. Lazaro and Just Chillin' having a good old scrap. Just Chillin' was trying to get that position away from him. I think this is going to be it now. Here we're going to see who is going to fare off better. Beaker lost out to Rayner as well. Did not end how he wanted it to. That one mistake coming out of the right-hander into the long DRS straight, it just shows how you need to get everything picture perfect correct. Otherwise, it just ends in tears. Okay. Further back, Zerd in P4, trying to close in on Meister. And this is the closest he's been in a long while. Yoltek still going on these mediums. He's doing a really solid job, I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect him to be going this long. Question is, though, is he actually going to... No, I think I've just had a sudden realization there. You may have heard the light bulb moment just tick away, but I think there's been an interesting strategy from the Toro Rosso. I think Yoltek is going to try and go all the way on the mediums to a point where he can jump onto the ultra softs and potentially climb even further than he's ever been before. Meister tears on past. Zerd is going to try and do the same thing. Is Mizzo going to be able to make that work as well? No, he isn't. He's just too far back. Yoltek locks up pretty hard, so that's 2 places lost. When do you come in, Yoltek? Is it this lap? Do you realize now you've gone too far on his tyres? No, he's still going. He may try the ultra soft strategy, but the question is, how much will he have lost by the time he does make the pit stop happen? Just Chillin and TNMO, they're also trying to do the moves. TNMO getting a penalty. He just cut that final corner a bit too hard, and that was a Renault, I think Rexon, yeah, he's in the pit. Sorry, Red Bull, apologies. He's just dipped into the pits. There goes Just Chillin, flying past TNMO. He needs to keep the line secure, and actually Buemos might be able to capitalise on this too. He's got the inside, he's trying to go down the pass to both of them. There was a bit of a nudge there, and that's actually sent TNMO really wide. Reyna's trying to capitalise on that as well, but no, TNMO holds him back, fends him off, and off he goes. Reyna's gone through as well, he's still going in strong. Nice move into the right-hander, and Reyna up now in a P11. Just Chillin is having a really good drive today. Alright, further upfield, Buemos in P10, Just Chillin in P9, and I was just about to jump up to Zerd, but again, we're coming out of this this long right-hander. Although, having said that, this is the closest I've seen Zerd on this straight in quite a while. I don't know if Meister is just running better wings than Zerd or what, but that gap is not falling apart very much at all. Interesting that Meister, when Meister moved over, Zerd didn't try and utilize the slipstream at all. I think he was just trying to hope that his DRS would be stronger than it was, but I think that actually Beaker making moves on TNMO, used the DRS to its fullest advantage. Massive lock up there from Beaker. TNMO cannot capitalise, but someone who is trying to capitalise is Buemos on Just Chillin. Yoltek finally pits and comes in on the mediums. I think we're going to see ultra softs on the Toro Rosso. No, he's gone softs. That's a questionable decision to do there. He had 10 laps to go when he decided to pit to go from mediums to softs. We know the softs can do about 12 laps, but I think Yoltek was thinking, alright, okay, I need to give it the full beans if I want to get myself up there into the podium spots. He's down in P12. It's going to be a hell of a drive for him to be able to capitalise like that, and Just Chillin makes a mistake, and Buemos goes on through. Hazard set maybe down in P19, but he set the fastest lap with a 1:33.7. And that is how you want it to be, as a little signal to say, yes, I made some mistakes. Yes, I got involved in some incidents. But I am still someone you need to remember for the next race, that I am very quick and I can beat you if I get the opportunity again. Just Chillin. He's under threat, but so is Buemos. If Buemos doesn't take this exit perfectly, he could lose 2 places. I mean, yeah, Reyna's got 3 lap older tyres in comparison to Just Chillin, and 2 laps in comparison to Buemos. But wow, Buemos, he did a really solid move. Just Chillin almost went into the back of Buemos. There was a really late break there from Just Chillin, but no, he's done a really solid job, and off he goes. This is looking pretty solid for them. And still looking at the front, Ed Nickton still leads the Chinese Grand Prix with 8 seconds ahead of Meister. That is a huge margin. Now is Just Chillin going to go for an inside move on Buemos. It's going to be a tough one if he can do it. Let's see what he does. Nope, Buemos stays up there, but if he doesn't make something happen soon, Reyna will absolutely capitalise. And I think, to be honest, Buemos has a better exit out of the right-hander onto the home straight. And of all corners that you need to know how to be better at anyone else on, that is the main one, because the drive out of that corner is so severe. With the DRS and the slipstream and the ERS, it really demonstrates how much you need to be on it to be able to get some places. You can be pretty poor in most of the areas. Yeah, you'll lose a place or two, but if you can master that corner and get the exit just right, you will take a few places regardless of what happens. Yoltek just keeping an eye on him a little bit further back, actually, as he's trying to close in on Beaker. Beaker's already got a penalty. Yoltek does not. And yeah, Yoltek knows, yes, I could have made a move there, but if I sit behind Beaker, come onto that back straight with the DRS, it'll make the overtake much easier, much simpler, and I don't have to defend. I can just slingshot past Beaker. We'll see what happens. So, Reyna and Just Chillin. Massive lock up there from Just Chillin. Now, Reyna just cannot capitalise on it. Zerd He's right there on the back end of Meister as they're coming into the long right-hander. Is he going to be able to capitalize on a mistake from Meister? And I don't think he is. I was hoping that we would be able to see a little flick from Zerd on Meister again. A little McLaren snap. But no, he's going to go for a cutback. Oh, he just caught the back end of Meister, and that slowed him down just too much. It meant his rotation of his car just couldn't happen. And that has brought it to a position where there is no switcheroo for Meister and Zerd. And I have been informed from Ferrari that the reason Beaker is not performing that well is his throttle pedal is malfunctioning. It doesn't seem to be working as well as he had intended. Just keeping an eye on that throttle bar, see what happens. It looks okay to me, but we are only just in there. Just keeping an eye on it. I want to see how it malfunctions. It looks fine to me. Interesting. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that as we go around the actual track today. Zerd and Meister going at it again. Zerd is right there next to Meister this time. Zerd's got the inside line. Meister goes around the outside too, and it's still neck and neck. They are not giving it up to either driver. Zerd's got a nose ahead, but they're coming into turn one. He has done it with a DRS available to him, but is he going to run wide? Meister might be able to capitalize on an inside line on Zerd. It just takes one small mistake from the McLaren, but no. Zerd has held it together. P2 is where he sits right now, and with 7 laps to go, Meister needs to figure out what he's got to do to pull that back and get some very valuable points for the Sauber team, because McLaren right now are by far the strongest constructor out of anyone else here today, and that is going to be huge with Haas leading it so far. P5, P10 is where they are currently, and if it ends like this, McLaren are going to be looking set to take the top spot at some point in the next few races. Keep an eye on that as we go around. Okay. Zerd's still going strong. Further down, Arena and Just Chillin'. We've seen them battling a lot. Just Chillin's done a good job to close in on Buemmels. And I think Sector 1 and 2 is where Just Chillin' is better than the 2 drivers around him. But Sector 3, Just Chillin' cannot pull it together and get a good exit out of this corner. This is where he's struggling. Keep an eye on him as he comes out the right-hander here. This bit here, look at the line that he takes. He's trying to get on the gas as early as he can, but he just cannot get a better entry and a better exit. And Meister, a 5-second stop-go penalty for exceeding track limits will mean a huge impact to his podium chances. Currently 5 seconds puts him outside of the podium, with Mizzo being in the final spot. Rayner locks up hard. He almost hit the back end of Just Chillin'. That was a major mistake. Those tyres will be taking a big hit. And with his fuel already on the margin, not quite able to make it to the end of the race. If he stays like this, he's going to be really struggling to recover that. That was very close between the two of them. Okay, further up ahead, we'll keep an eye on Meister as he did that problem with the exceeding track limits. So 5 seconds stop go. He's going for a move on the inside. He's clipped the inside of Zerd. Meister's scrapping. He's trying to clutch at anything he can get. It just is not working for him. And Zerd holding on to P2, doing a very good job to not be affected by that little collision. And as long as this keeps going, this will bring Mizzo into the mix. With a 1.4, almost 1.5 second gap between the two. Another mistake like that from Meister, and Mizzo will be right there, snatching that podium away on track, regardless of the penalty. Oh, we got a yellow flag in Sector 1. Is that Lazaro? Oh, he's off, look. There he is, off the track. That is not how you want to be driving right now. Has he got... What is his issue? He's got network connection issues that you can see him struggling to make it around the track. He jumped around quite a considerable amount. I mean, that wasn't Sector 1. Oh, there he is. He's off. Okay, network issues for him. That is a definite feels bad man. Let's look further down, actually. Let's see Gooby and Rexon. Gooby staying close to the back of Jon. Jon trying to snap the slipstream away from Gooby. Oh, Meister trying to come back onto Zerd. Let's take a look. Into turn 1. This is where we saw the move from Zerd earlier. Sorry, Meister trying to make a move back on Zerd. He didn't try it this time around. Kept it much cleaner. But We might see a move here going into this right-hander. It's going to be a deep dive if he does try it. No, he knows not to try it. Zed have a tiny lockup, nothing too severe. Let's keep an eye out actually further back. Look how close Rainer is to the back of Just Chillin's car. He can see every time that gearbox does any cog changes. It's looking bad for him. Lazaro is all over the place right now in terms of connection. We will have to ignore him for now. So you may see the standings on the left jumble about a little bit, but we're going to be paying attention to these drivers. Toto gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Mizzo is slowly closing this in with Meister making mistakes. This is going to be an interesting one throughout the rest of this race. We'll have DRS. Oh, Tina Mo's retired. We've gone 23 laps without a single retirement, and now we've had the first one of the session. Is Meister going to go for a move down the inside? A massive lock up there, but he might get a better run. There's a little bit of contact between him and Zerd, which gives Zerd the advantage. And that is why you see Zerd just running away with it now. And off he goes. Rainer right there on the back of Just Chillin'. Yeah, he's ahead of him now. He's got the nose in front, and that is a done deal from Rainer. But it's not over yet. Remember, Just Chillin' will have DRS going onto the home straight, and whilst it looks like Rainer doesn't have enough fuel to get to the end of the session, Just Chillin' has plenty, so he will be able to use the rich revs and will be able to use his wing. He just doesn't have enough ERS to capitalize on it, so we'll have to keep an eye out and see how he performs. It's looking interesting. There we go. But it's also worth noting that Rainer does have a 3-second penalty, so Just Chillin' might be able to capitalize on that. Not necessarily need to push too hard. And P9 for the 2 valuable points, especially with Meister up there in P3. As it stands, he will be outside of the top 3 because of that penalty that he got earlier. But he is still trying to close it in. 4 laps to go. And first thing to point out, the major thing is at Nickturn is 11.8 seconds ahead of P2. He has had the most dominant session that we have seen anybody do here in the Rwagnation League. He's given it the full beans, he's given it everything, and he is dominating. No penalties for him. He's kept it exactly how he needed to, within the lines and at full speed. So this is no longer a question of who's going to get the race win. It's now looking at who is going to take P2. Is it going to be Meister physically on track? We know that penalty is going to stop him from getting P2, but it's not stopping him from trying to make a move on Zerd. If he can capitalize on this, he may, or if he makes a mistake, he may catch Zerd, and they may send him off the track and into the wall, or have some sort of major issue. We'll have to keep an eye out. He's done a pretty solid job there. That was a bit of a back end kick, and I think his tyres are actually starting to fall away from him. Yes, he's on the mediums, and we know they can go further than where they are right now, but that doesn't say that it will stay like that for very long. Rainer, after making that move on Just Chillin', he is catching up to the back of Buemels. Whilst he does have that 3-second time penalty, Just Chillin' will not be far off losing out if he keeps at the same sort of pace he is doing right now. Zerd, under threat again. This time Meister is much closer than he has been for the last few attempts. He's pretty good on the exit. The slipstream is already playing effect, and look at the pace. He's reeling him in. Get that wing open. Get the ARS in mode 4. Zerd's going to have to go defensive now. Meister's going to go around the outside. It's going to be a tough one as they come into the hairpin. If Zerd manages to hold the inside line, and he has, there might be a little nudge between the two. It's only gentle. There's been a bit of contact. That was got a bit more aggressive after that. Meister's trying to capitalize, take the inside line, and he is ahead. And Meister's done it. But DRS goes over to Zerd. Now we're going to see a McLaren snap. Meister's already gone defensive on the inside line. McLaren moving over to the outside. Is he going to be able to capitalize on it? No, he isn't. Again, another little contact between him and Meister. It does prove that there's more of a nudge. I think Zerd's tyres are actually in much better state than Meister's are. He seems to be really struggling today, and the tyres are not quite in his status. Oh, and then there was a little bit of a flick there from Zerd. And that has cemented P2 for Meister, but it has not cemented it for the end of the race. Remember, he does have a 5-second stop go to serve at the end, as Beaker has a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. That must have been an absolutely enormous off there, or a corner cut. I think what happened was he ran wide coming out of the right-hander. And there goes Beaker. And he's still alive somehow. That's a very frustrated Beaker. After that huge penalty, he was already outside of the points. So nothing too much lost for him, but he's not going to be happy with that performance. He's had enough of the race for him. Yep, there you go. He's disqualified. I think with the, first of all, the technical issues he's had with his throttle, he's going to be in a very frustrated situation. Gooby sets the fastest lap time of the session. He has gone onto the ultra soft tyres just to do that. And yeah, that's a very bugged out Lazaro, so we can ignore that for now. Here he is. Okay, Reina trying to make a move on Buemels. He's going to be taking a very late break there. Buemels does have the inside, so he's got a better braking line. And off he goes, still strong. Reina trying to capitalize on it. Lazaro is retired from the session. I'm not sure quite what happened there, but here we go with Reina. Wing open now, closing in on the back of Buemels. Is he going to be able to get an inside snap? Buemels closes the line off enough. Reina might be able to make it on the inside, but no. Buemels keeps a nice tight line. No opening there for Reina to sort of capitalize on, and that's kept Buemels in P7. And this is crucial. Remember, Reina does have the 3-second time penalty. He's already going to lose out anyway. He's going to try and go around the outside. Is this a doable move for Reina? Let's see. He's right there, wheel to wheel, alongside Buemels, and if he can keep the line, he might be able to get it going through the left-hander. This might be a solid overtaking opportunity for him, and he's done it. Reina, what a move. Similar to how Jorn did it earlier, except Jorn went around the outside. Reina managed to set himself up for the outside of the first corner. Then when it came to the S's, he managed to get an inside, and a really solid move for him. Okay, Buemels and Reina are together. And it's still going well for him. Alright, let's see what happens next. Is there going to be a pullback for Buemels into Reina? I don't think there is. I think Buemels' tyres have had it now. I don't think he's going to be able to do much about that. I have been informed that Beaker's DNF was not intentional. His tyres... his pedals in his actual simulation rig pedals failed on him, which meant he couldn't stop the car and he couldn't actually steer. He entirely just had no choice. The car went off and went off into the wall. So that is how Beaker ended in the situation he did. Let's take a look at Nick Turn. We are on the final lap of the Chinese Grand Prix. This man here has been absolutely astounding. He has delivered more than we could have ever expected from him. He has done such a good job in the qualifying. He threw in some bragging rights lap times, for God's sake. That's how quick he was. And now, coming into the race, he's got a 13.2 second lead on Meister, who normally these two are battling out non-stop to the very edge. But Nick Turn, after such a phenomenal drive, comes up to the hairpin for the final time in this race. The Rwagnation League Season 2 Chinese Grand Prix looks like it's going to go into the hands of this Williams driver here. Who could have expected anything more from him? Final corner as he comes across the line. Nick Turn is your Chinese Grand Prix winner. Again, with 25 points under his name, it's looking good for him. Meister coming in P2 up to the final corner. He might be able to pull this one off. He crosses the line. That's it. Solid P2 for him. But with 5-second penalty, it might switch around. Mizo actually switched it with Zerd. And yeah, look at that. Meister outside of the top podium by 0.2 of a second. That was a very close move by McLaren, but they made it work. And I'm not sure if Mizo and Zerd just swapped places or was overtaken on track. But what an absolutely great result for McLaren. And looking at where the Haas team are, further downfield, you got P5 and P9. Reina, even with the 5-second penalty, 3-second penalty, sorry. He yes, he lost to Just Chilling, but he's still in P9, so 2 points go his way, and that is exactly what he was expecting. The final place of the top 10 goes to Yoltek after an interesting strategy by him. Copy in P11, he's the best of the rest, especially given his really bad start. I think it was a connection issue that caused him to fall back so far. But wow, what an absolute move by these drivers. Really astounding race. And now the most important question of the day. Who is the driver of the day? For me, I think it's got to go to Zerd. Zerd did such an incredible job of climbing up the field. I think he gave that position back to Mizzo. Mizzo did some really incredible moves. The McLaren Snap, as I like to call it, was the new trademark for him. What an absolutely astounding race. And that signifies the end of the Rwagnation League Season 2 Chinese Grand Prix. Congratulations to Nick Turn as he hoists up the trophy. Well done by him. And the McLaren on the podium spot. That is not something you're used to very often. Seeing both the boys up there in P2 and P3. Really well done by them. There they are, celebrating. And here's how it looks at the end of that race. Nick Turn P1 by a huge margin. Mizzo then P2. Zerd P3. Meister was actually P2 on the track, but through the 5-second penalty, he actually dropped down to P4. Yonti takes P5. Clowie takes P6. Blemmels P7. Just chilling P8. Yoltek P9. Rayner closes out the top 10. Best of the rest is Copy. Hazard in P12. Rexa in P13. Yawn P14. Tortor P15. Gooby 16, Inaudible Gamer 17, Lazzaro with some interesting issues on track is 18, Tinamo 19, Beaker with a disqualification through a retirement due to wheel issues, he goes into P20. So that is it here in the Rwagnation League. Thank you everybody who took part and everybody who was spectating. Really appreciate you all being here. Unfortunately we had some issues with my co-commentator, I'm not sure quite what happened, he had to disappear, but full on a massive appreciation to Kai. Thank you so much for your brief involvement in this race, and from me,